Welcome everybody to another episode of the 10-10 challenge on FIFA 17. This is Ida and we are going straight into another game. I have a different topic again today and we will see how we get on. We have those 6 points from the 2 wins. See if we can get a third one and let's see if we can push up this Division 7 into Division 6. Hopefully as quick as we can. We'll go straight into this game, find an opponent and we'll see what their team is. Okay, this guy has a pretty standard Premier League team. He's got Butland, Klein, Winston Reid, he's got Matip, Moreno, Firmino, Kante, Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Remy and Walcott. Looks like he's going to go pace, pace, pace up front. But he has a very narrow formation, exactly like the last guy in the last game, in the last episode. So we'll try and hit the flanks with Pedro and Sane and use their pace to our advantage. My topic today is something that is sort of 2-in-1, but we'll use it as an excuse to talk about the two things that are sort of related. And the first part of that is talking about Harry Redknapp, who is somehow back in charge of a football team. I'm guessing... Oh, no, that was a terrible pass. Somehow his knees have been fixed, or somehow quickly, that he's got his knees fixed again. He's only in charge for 3 games at Birmingham, but apparently there's sort of a thing that if he's, if they do well, then he might stay on for the next season. Whilst he's not the oldest manager there's ever been in the world, I do feel like it's recycling the same old stuff again. And he's been out of the game for a while. So do they really expect him to, spark something out of them with what is about 4 games left or 5 games left of the championship season? Origi, you have to score this. Yes, what a goal from Origi. And apparently talk about how Redknapp gets me to score straight away. Because that was my first sort of line about Harry Redknapp in this whole game so far. And that was a wonderful finish. I did do a little finesse shot, see if I could get some curl on it away from the keeper. That is a brilliant shot. I will take that goal. Celebration was a bit shocking, but we'll take it. A lot can be said about Harry Redknapp and how well he's done in his career. And some of his feats, like the win with Bournemouth over Man United. And I didn't realise that was 33 years ago. That's before, well, a lot of people before I was born, definitely, but before a lot of people were born on this planet, because there's always that stat about how many people have been born since Liverpool last won the Division 1/Premier League title, and that Harry Redknapp win with Bournemouth was longer than that, and it's almost almost as long as half of Harry Redknapp's life so far. Is that Origi again? Yes, it is. What a quality finish! Didn't finesse that one. I just hammered it home. His feats in the game have been very good. You look at his managerial tendency at Portsmouth, where he won the FA Cup, and you've got at Tottenham, and how their foray into the Champions League was. It was better than this season, where, Pochettino is the man of the moment in terms of Premier League managers and foreign managers. What a tackle! Yeah, he's sort of flavour of the month. And he has, what a lot of people are saying, Tottenham's best squad, arguably the best one out of the last, 50 odd years since they last won the league title. But Redknapp did a lot better in the Champions League than Pochettino. Even Pochettino has this season. And that was a terrible pass. I need to do an amazing miracle tackle like I just did before. What a great shot from Remy. That's why you don't play for Palace even. The second point I was going to make in terms of Harry Redknapp taking over at Birmingham, it's sort of about interfering owners and bad foreign owners, or not even just foreign owners. They're not all foreign owners in football in England, and they're not all bad, because you take someone like Man City's owners or Chelsea, Abramovich. I know the Man United owners get a lot of gyp, but they have made that club, the pretty much most profitable or most highest incoming club pretty much in the world. So they can't all be bad. Shot from Pedro. Oh. But you look at Birmingham specifically, and they had a manager that, in terms of how much money he had to spend and the players he had available at the time, you know, he got that club to, I think they were 8th in the Championship and doing pretty well. Aspas off the crossbar. They were doing pretty well. They had some new board members join the club and sort of, you know, put some more money into it, and they replaced him with Zola. You know, Gary Rowett did very well with what he had. If they'd actually given him money and left him there, given him that January transfer window, he might have been able to do something and maybe even take them up because of how well they were playing for him. I know oh no, it's frozen. I know their style wasn't great. Oh good, thanks goodness. I know their style, from a lot of people, they said that their sort of playing style wasn't the greatest, but in the Championship, all you need is to win and get out of that division, and the style can be adapted for when you move to the Premier League. You know, you look at Nigel Pearson, he's got a couple of teams out the Championship, and they've not all been, you know, world beating 400, 600 passes a game teams, but they do well. But specifically with Birmingham, they replaced him with Zola, who's pretty much every single job, apart from that season at Watford where he had, where they lost in the playoffs. Apart from that one season as a manager, the rest of his seasons as manager have not been good, and they just wanted like a name. They didn't care who the manager actually was. If they cared who the manager was, they wouldn't have just picked a name. They would have just stuck with who they had. Because I know it's a stick or twist. They might have put loads of money into it and just sort of run away with it. But you look at a team like Derby, they've got a very, very rich owner. They've spent a lot of money. I thought I could have scored there. Well done, Origi. Let's cut back inside. I thought I could bustle my way through there with his strength and size. You look at how Derby have done, and they've not been, you know, they've hardly done anything in the Championship, and they've got the most expensive squad apart from like Newcastle in that league. For meddling owners though, you look at lots of clubs and teams that have those, and I don't know why these rich owners take over and think that they can do everything in the game before they've really experienced what it's actually like in football. Obviously, a nice target of mine so far in my videos has been talking about Arsenal, so I'm going to leave them alone today because they do actually do pretty well with what they have. It's just, you know, the argument about their manager and stuff like that. But you look at a team that's got taken over, I think 2 years ago now, might have been slightly longer, but at a Leyton Orient, they got taken over by the Italian bloke, I can't remember his name, and they're basically almost going out of existence. And he said that they were going to be, you know, that he was going to try and get them into the Championship. And he's not necessarily a meddling owner. He just doesn't care. I've heard that he doesn't turn up to games, and he's just taken them. He thought he could make loads of money out of them. I don't think he's doing that. Definitely not. But you look at how they had, I think it was Barry Hearn's his name, their old chairman and owner. He sold them in sort of good faith that because he thought he'd taken them as far as they could, and because obviously West Ham got the Olympic Stadium / London Stadium. That was sort of as far as he thought he could take him. So he was, you know, he's slightly older, so he sold them, and in good faith that they'd have somebody that could take over that had quite a bit of money and sort of help them push this, you know, a London club, lots of potential fans. It's a good shot from Sane, and he just completely ruined the club. And you think, what can these football league or the FA or whoever just do something better? Because they have these like fit and proper persons tests, and they still get in. They still get these clubs, don't they? you look at the ones in Birmingham, or the ones at Blackburn, especially, Venky's. Oh my god, where do you start about them? I need about 3 episodes worth to talk about them, because they've been in charge for a while. But they haven't been to like a league game in like 2 years or something like that. Wow, Aspas. I know you're offside, but at least on target. But yeah, just some of these people, they've got more money than they have sense. They just don't go about things right. And maybe you look at, I know they're good business people, they have a lot of money. Maybe if they were better, you know, actually pretty amazing business people, they'd have more money. I mean, obviously it depends what line of business they're in and what they're selling and what, you know, they might make more money than what they have, but maybe they're, you know, they're top of their industry. But you look at a good owner, and I know a lot of people say, oh, Chelsea bought the league, yada yada yada, all the old cliches that you could rattle out about Chelsea. But Abramovich, he's never had like a, you know, he's, in terms of football, because I know people could go into like all the political nonsense and all this, that and the other, and like, I don't know, Putin or whatever. But in terms of scandals for the club, what's he actually ever done bad? Like, he's put his money where his mouth is. He's listened to what people have said. I know he's sort of been trigger happy with managers, but you can't say it doesn't work. You know, we've won a lot of trophies in his time owning the club, a lot more than we did before he took over. So if he's putting his money where his mouth is, then, you know, who am I to stop him? You know, he's got a $400 million or £1 million ship / yacht. You know, that's his choice what he spends his money on. But, you know, he's looking at buying the club a new stadium. He got the new training ground. He's got the youth facilities, which are like, in terms of producing players to the first team, it's not fruitful at the moment, and it may not be because of how football is at the moment. But in terms of, oh, that was a bit powerful, in terms of how he's improved the club as a whole and all that sort of stuff, how positive he is as an owner compared to some of these clubs that have owners that just sort of rip everything out of them. And that is the end of the game. We are 2-0 winners again. Stats in the second half weren't great, but we still got the 2-0 win. We need 2 more wins to get us, hopefully, promoted. And then maybe 3 more, and hopefully we can get the title and open 10 more packs. But that's obviously in a couple of episodes. And what I will do, I'll leave you at the end of the episode here. So thanks you for watching. Thanks you for watching. That is how I'm going to say it from now on. Thanks you for watching, and peace.